Things are gonna get crazy!
Most everyone's mad here.
Why, yes, it is time once again that we shall start another episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. How are you all doing, people? Are you doing well? Have you been getting a good weekend? And also, welcome to the beautiful season of spring. And to the people who live a little bit more north, hopefully we will soon see the snow go away, because now it's really becoming a pain in the butt. But speaking of pain in the butts, by the way, we actually have a very special episode in store for you all, because it's been a long time since I've had this going on, but I am not alone. Yes, I finally have another guest star with us, but someone that for AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, yes, I can hear some people already excited. Thank you, Cinema Geddon, for the subscription. But in this case here, this is someone who has appeared in AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast before, and considering how she was a major help in the Pinocchio incident video that I've done almost a month ago, I figured why the fridge not and bring her on board for another fun-filled episode. So please welcome back to AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, people, Devon. Devon, how are you today? Here we go. There you are.
My God. Yeah, that was so lame, but yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks.
Good. So far, things have been going well on your side?
Oh, yes, especially considering I had to work, I had to come home, I had to rush, and now I'm here, and my face is all frickin' red because I was running upstairs because you're calling me like,
Well, you like I told you, you said on the chat that, okay, well, look, call me when you're ready. And I was like, okay, I'll go call. You were there.
did not say the word call. That's what makes me mad. I said to let me know when you're ready.
Well,
Huge
hold on.
difference.
First of all, I did let you know on Skype. Okay, I wrote down I am here. I waited, and then I was like, okay, let's do a call, and you didn't answer.
You read that on Skype. I wasn't even on Skype yet. You could have texted me
You said you opened your Skype.
on my computer, but not on my phone.
You don't have Skype on your phone? What?
I don't use Skype on my phone all the time.
At least just to have the notifications.
Whatever. Pain in the butt. Speaking of,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, get ready, folks, because this is how this episode is going to be, by the way. And also, before we do begin, there are two announcements that I would like to do, because not only is this episode special because, well, Devon is on board and a lot more chaos will ensue, but this is officially the 250th episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. Yes, I have been doing this around 250 times. You know what that means, Devon?
well, that means that there are crazy people that have watched your show 250 times.
That, and also I should probably go out more.
That's not my problem. That sounds like a you problem.
Yeah, maybe. But also, there's another major announcement that I would like to go and make, and this is actually in regarding of what will happen next week, because I actually have my first ever charity event going on. Yes, what's happening is that I am going to be teaming up with Gamers Outreach in order to go and participate in the Gamers for Giving charity campaign. Now, I know some of you may be wondering, though, well, AniMat, you're more of a cartoon guy than a gamer. Well, why are you teaming up with a gaming group? Like, what are you going to be doing anyways? Well, I'm going to be honest with you all. This has been something that I've been holding on to for a while, and honestly been waiting for like the right moment or when I feel ready to go and actually get started with this thing. And I decided, you know what, with this charity event, I feel like might as well get started on this, might as well actually get back into it. And yes, folks, I am going to be bringing back AniMat Plays. And not only that, as I promised all those years ago, I will be playing Cuphead. So for charity, you will be watching me play Cuphead. I don't know for how long. I don't think I'm going to be beating the game in one sitting. But basically the whole goal is that you will watch me play and we will raise money for charity. And I will go and put in a goal for, I'd say, $500. So as it is my first charity event, let's go and start off with something easy. We're going to start off with $500. If we can raise $500 for Gamers for Giving, then that would be an absolute win. So mark your calendars. It will be on March 23rd, this Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then from there, we'll have a lot of fun as you will watch me play Cuphead and you will watch my brand new setup of AniMat Plays. Also be testing it out to see how my my streaming setup, my gaming streaming setup will be. So those are just the announcements that I just want to go and let out, first of all. All right, so with that said, Devon, are you ready for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast?
Oh, I am definitely ready. Bring it on.
All right, perfect. Now, Chadwell, are you ready? Oh, no, you're right here. Are you ready for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Let me hear it, folks. Now, are you all prepared? No, but start anyways. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Yes, I see people are okay. I don't know. I don't see people being enthusiastic. I'll go and ask one more time. Are you ready for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Come on, folks. I want to hear it. Tell me you're ready. There we go. Okay, now I'm seeing it. That's perfect. That's what I'm here for. That's what I want to see. And now we will go and get things started. But first of all, I want to go and reset the ad timer as we're going to go and refresh that. And then when we will get into our first story, that's when we are going to go and begin by taking a look at the hopeful future of DC movies, or at least with the first one that they got with their new universe. All right, so now with that one, taken care of, Devon, I want to go and ask you a question. You're familiar with Superman, right?
Yes, I am actually.
All right, you read the
I
comic?
mean, who else would... No,
Sorry.
I didn't read the comics. I was not... Here's me. I was not into the Superman comics. That DC is not my forte. I don't love DC. I'm more of a Marvel girl, but that's just me. But if it wasn't for James and Morgan, I wouldn't have... they are the ones that introduced me to the Superman movies.
Ah, right. Yeah, did you watch all four? Did you watch all of them, or is just a certain amount?
I remember the first two very well. I don't think we watched 3 and 4 together, or at least I don't remember them very well. So I think that was it as far as my Superman movie knowledge, though I remember watching the first two very, very well.
Okay, so definitely more of a Christopher Reeve kind of girl with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's more interesting anyway, so.
Fair enough. But we may have a brand new version of Superman coming soon. And while we don't know who specifically is going to play the role, we now know what the tone is going to be, especially when it comes to the brand new director that they got, which surprisingly is James Gunn, or in this case, unsurprisingly, because here's the whole scenario with this. For a while, we have known about Superman Legacy, and it has already been established that this is going to be the one that would be the official debut of DC's brand new universe, because so far how things are going with the current DC universe that they have, it's been going, well, not good. especially when this weekend it was the release of Shazam Fury of the Gods. And the way that they are opening right now, it's already on track to becoming a major box office flop, and people already just not caring about it whatsoever, just quickly moving on. So already it looks like with the DC, with how the DC movies are right now, well, it shows that people are just no longer interested, or at least be invested with the current format of the DC universe, knowing the fact that in the future it's going to be rebooted anyway. So why the fridge should we care to go and follow the big story of what is going on? But anyways, with Superman Legacy, we have known that James Gunn was going to be the writer. Like, ever since that he was on board as one of the big heads of the new DC studios at Warner Brothers Discovery, he was on board with just writing it, but he was always hesitant when it comes to directing it. When he was often asked by the media if he is also going to go and direct the picture, he's always like, I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna go and do it. I think like we'll find someone better, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm just gonna focus on the script. But it looks like the more that James Gunn was writing it, the more that he was loving the material that he was giving to Superman. And I guess inevitably, after the pressure from so many people around him, he decided that he would go and actually direct the script that he worked on. Now, to go and give you a bit of a quote, reading from my source here on Variety, James Gunn has stated here, I lost my dad almost 3 years ago. He was my best friend. He didn't understand me as a kid, but he supported my love of comics and my love of film, and I wouldn't be making this movie now without him. It has been a long road to this point. I was offered Superman years ago. I initially said no because I didn't have a way in that felt a way in that felt unique and fun and emotional that gave Superman the dignity he deserved. He also went on to go and say that a bit less than a year ago, I saw a way in many ways centering around Superman's heritage, how both his aristocratic Kryptonian parents and his Kansas farmer parents inform who he is and the choices he makes. And and there is actually one more little quote at the end, in which he says that people have become beholden to release dates to getting movies made no matter what. I'm a writer at my heart, and we're not going to be making movies before the screenplay is finished. Even though the fact that when it comes to Superman Legacy, they have already stated that the film is going to be released on July 11th, 2025. So that is so far the big confirmation that we do have with James Gunn, that not only is he the writer, but now it has been confirmed that he is the director. So, Devon, I would like to know your thoughts about this.
Well, like I said, I'm not a Superman person, but I do sort of understand from, I guess I like from the James Gunn's point of view, like when his father passed away, that must have been a big changing point in how he felt about certain things. It's kind of like when my mother died, like
Mhm.
certain things do change. Like you don't, it's hard to process the grief, but you find ways to get over or not over the loss completely, but you still try to move on from it. And I think for him, like if this movie for him might be that kind of solution, I guess, if he associates his dad with this movie. So I really applaud him for it. And I know he directed the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, right?
Yes.
I Yeah, so I think for him, like strong characters is kind of what he goes for. And I always said what is interesting to me, because people argue DC versus Marvel, which is better. And a lot of people always said that Marvel had the stronger characters, but DC had more of the memorable, like, icons. Like, Superman was an icon, Batman is an icon, Wonder Woman's an icon. They're all icons, but they weren't given true character in a sense until later when people started making the movies and started trying to reinterpret these characters in these comics, which I respect. I totally respect that. And I understand why people like DC. And I also understand why people like Marvel. I'm not gonna, I always say, like, with me, I think it's great that he is finding some inspiration to do this movie. That's great. I see nothing wrong with that. And I'm hoping that with this movie, hopefully it's really good. And even with the DC movies nowadays, yeah, nobody talks about DC anymore unless if it's Batman.
Yeah, that is
No offense.
definitely true. Yeah, especially like with the whole direction that they have with the DC universe or the Snyderverse, like trying to really push in the edgy element. It really did not work with most audiences, and that's why like trying to appeal to that toxic fan base ultimately led to the entire thing's failure and why there was that need to go and make a full-on reboot. But interestingly enough, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I actually did hear that when it comes to Superman Legacy, the release date is actually something that coincidentally became very personal, because I think James Gunn's brother told James that apparently July 11th was his father's birthday. So that's why like there is a bit of that personal connection and why he connects more with it. And I would say for me, I feel like this is actually a very promising start. Like this is a very promising sign that when it comes to Superman Legacy, it could turn out to be great, because there is like honestly the things that James Gunn is suggesting, the things about like making Superman more fun, making Superman more unique, more emotional. I feel like those are things that it really has been missing in the recent Superman films, especially the ones with Henry Cavill, where he would be like in Dawn of Justice or the Justice League movies and stuff like that. Like they're like you don't necessarily get a full sense there is a lot of emotion on him, or there is or especially there is that element of fun. Like those are, you know, and these are like superhero movies. Like, why do you have to be so gritty? Why do you have to be so edgy? Like, yeah, there are ways that it can work, but just doing that, it just makes the experience overall unpleasant, especially if it's in the wrong hands. Superman, I feel like, is a superhero that is meant to be more fun than it is to be gritty or really a superhero to go and take seriously. Because with Superman, like a lot of criticisms that I hear from people, especially from superhero fans, they would always say that Superman is more like the vanilla superhero, kind of like the standard template of what a superhero is, and like all the others would go in some additional little twists. But there are ways that you could take Superman and you can make him enjoyable, that you can make him fun. And honestly, by giving Superman to James Gunn, not just as a writer but as a director, I think that is the direction that the superhero really needs in order to actually make a Superman movie that people would really go and enjoy. And especially, we have seen how James Gunn can really emphasize the emotion and the fun that has often been missing in a lot of these superhero movies. Like with the Guardians of the Galaxy films that you have brought up, like he was able to go and take like these relatively obscure superheroes. Like nobody has ever heard of characters like either Groot or Rocket Raccoon before the movie. But then when that came out, like he knew how to make it a lot of fun. He knew how to make it very engaging for audiences. He knew how to give people a good time with them. And the same can be said with the Suicide Squad. Like there was this 2016 movie that really butchered it badly, but then when James Gunn stepped in and he arrived with his reboot, he really brought in some brand new life to the Suicide Squad, made them enjoyable, made them a lot more fun, made them a lot more colorful. Like really add in those components that was very much needed, that was missing from the 2016 movie. And that's honestly what I am hoping for. And I'll even add that when it comes to the Suicide Squad, it's honestly one of my favorite superhero movies in recent years. It really was that fun. I don't think you'll like it, Devon, because it is also highly violent, but honestly, that's what I am hoping for the most when it comes to Superman's Legacy, that James Gunn would go and treat it the same way that he did with the Suicide Squad. Take what was wrong with the take the elements that was wrong with like the Snyder Superman, like with Dawn of Justice or the Justice Leagues and stuff like that, and he would go and improve upon that to make a more enjoyable Superman, a Superman that we can connect emotionally, a Superman that you could tell that he's having fun, and maybe like a little bit more reminiscent to like some of the previous Supermans, you know, like be more reminiscent to Christopher Reeve in a sense.
Yeah, because like I said, I do agree with that because it's like what I said earlier. Everybody associates DC as making these icons, and I do agree with the criticism of him being a vanilla superhero. He's really boring
Mhm.
when you think about it. As far as the superheroes and the lineup in DC, in my opinion, I like Wonder Woman and Batman. Those are my favorites. I like them both. They're both very interesting characters. But back in the 30s when Superman was created, he wasn't created for a character per se. He was more created as an icon, like an American icon.
Mhm.
Like when you're going through like the early 30s, like the 30s and the 40s, he was just that icon that everybody wanted to cheer for after, especially after the Great Depression, after the World War. I get that. There's a purpose for that. But this is 2023. There's a huge difference between the time frame. And I
Mhm.
appreciate that now we have this super Christopher Reeve movies, which are very okay. Not all of them are good. The first two are great. Not so sure
Yeah.
about the last two.
Yeah,
It's like,
I don't know. Some people will bring up the question about like Quest for Peace, you know?
I'll pass on that, thanks. And the other Superman movies, like, I personally did not see them, but either they're forgettable or they're just not, or they're too gritty, like you said.
Mhm.
And I mean, Superman, it was more meant to be fun, and I think the Christopher Reeve movies caught that, especially in the first two movies. So I'm really hoping that there is some revival to some degree with James Gunn, and I think he could do it, especially after I'd never seen the Suicide Squad, but you're right. Any violence makes me sick, and I just no. Sorry. I appreciate what he has done, and I respect the Guardians of the Galaxy movies because those are really good.
Oh yeah.
And
Just out of curiosity, are you excited for the third one?
well, I haven't seen the second one in a while. I saw the first one twice.
Okay,
So
so you'll wait. It's not a top
yeah, I'll
prio.
wait.
Okay.
No, it's not my type prior. But yeah, honestly, I'm excited for this. I hope it's gonna be real good. It's kind of like anything else. Just wait and see what happens. But if it's James Gunn, I think there'll be more hope for people than like
Mhm.
when people were skeptical about the Batman movie that came out a while back. A lot of people were more skeptical until that movie came, and that was either divide love or divide hate. It all
So
depends
far from
on the
like I get the division aspect, but from what I've seen, for the most part, most people seem to like it. Like
yeah,
it's
that's
often
what I've
agreed to
heard.
be like I guess you could say like maybe seven, you know, like 75 25 75% like people really love it. I'll
Yeah.
admit I'm one of them as well. Like that was definitely an awesome movie. I can't wait for the second part.
I didn't see it yet because I love Robert Pattinson. I was a big Twilight geek back when that was released, so of course I watched him in those. And I haven't seen it yet, only just because it's like what 3 hours, almost
Uh
three and a half. I
I
don't have
think
that
over
kind of
3 hours, yeah.
I don't have that kind of time unless if I'm dividing it 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes. That's just too long of a movie, at least in one sitting to me. But maybe I would have to watch it and sort of divide and conquer. But
Yeah,
I'm
okay. It definitely does sound like you wouldn't be the kind who would sit and watch Zack Snyder's Justice League, because I
oh,
believe that thing is like
no,
around 4 hours.
no. You know my patience level, and it's zero. So, like, I have very rare long movies that I love. Titanic, I love. I went to the movie theater to see that, and that's more than 3 hours long. I love that movie. I love Gone with the Wind. I've seen that multiple times. It's not that I can't like a 3-hour movie. It has to interest me enough to want to watch it for 3
Mm,
hours.
I guess
But if it's
Avatar.
not,
I guess Avatar ain't on the list either.
oh god, no. I didn't even like the first one. I called it the blue frickin' Pocahontas. I've seen it. Seen that. No, I didn't even like the first one.
Ah, well then. But yeah,
Ass.
I guess but either way, I guess it's safe to say that for the both of us, we're very much excited to see what James Gunn is going to do with Superman, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So
definitely.
yeah, hopefully this will be the Superman that we deserve to get. That hopefully this will be the Superman that will take himself less seriously and that he could just enjoy being Superman while also like having that emotional side, because trust me, like from seeing all those trailers of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, James Gunn definitely does know how to play with emotions. So hopefully he will adopt that onto Superman as well.
Yeah, I think he will for sure.
All right. So with that said, now I want to go and ask the chat wall, what do you all think about James Gunn directing Superman Legacy? Are you all excited to go and check this film out? Do you have any concerns? Let me know what you all think about this. All right, so let's see now. With how the DCEU became a giant mess, James Gunn directing the next Superman movie is a step in the right direction. His movies can strike the right balance between fun and emotional, which does fit Superman. People may critique Superman for being vanilla and boring, but not only is he meant to be seen as an ideal to look up to, but he could truly have some amazing and emotional stories, most notably All-Star Superman. I feel very certain that James Gunn can capture Superman's spirit and heroism. And you know, it just made me realize, like, I do get what you mean by like how people love the iconography of Superman. It's like like the big appeal of him is like what he stands for, you know, truth, justice, and like you know what, like whatever it is, like either the American
It's
way
truth,
or like,
justice, and the American way.
or I remember there was at one point they did change that, like the way of the people or something like. I think they did go
I
back
don't
recently
remember.
to the American way, but I don't know. But then again, like the American way is kind of a controversial subject as is.
I'm not even gonna discuss that, and I'm an American, so
Fair enough. Let's see. Needless to say, I'm pretty curious about what they're gonna do here. I'm only really a casual DCU fan, though I did catch Shazam 2 a couple of days ago, but I'm a sucker for James Gunn's movies, so I'll be willing to tip my hat if he brings in something new. If I'm telling you, Jimbo, if you bring in the Lego Channing Tatum Superman, it would be so awesome. It would be so cool. It would be the most. And the comment is gone. Yeah. Oh my God. Chat. Imagine bringing in Channing Tatum to be Superman. Like what?
oh
Like the
god,
Lego
no.
movie foretold. Like this major thing. Oh my God. It at that point, would they also go and cast? Oh, that would also mean they would have to cast Jonah Hill as Green Lantern, and I know they got some big plans for that.
Oh god.
Oh my
Why
God,
Channing Tatum? I'm
how
sorry. No.
how one joke in the Lego movie defined an entire cinematic universe.
No.
Okay. Oh, let's see here. Superman Legacy could be something unique and different compared to previous Superman incarnations. I could see this as a fun and exciting film as the Christopher Reeves movies. We need more light-hearted Superman stuff. It's been a long time we've had one. Hopefully it's good. Right? Let's see. Superman is bright, colorful, fun, and optimistic. What Snyder did with the character is nothing short of character assassination, and I'm excited for Gunn to give the character his long-awaited justice. He's not only a better writer and director, he also has a personal relation with the character now, given his father's passing, and the Soup lost his father and is unable to stop it. This will be catharsis for him and for all of us as well. Right? Let's see what other comments here. For a man who symbolizes the hope and optimism of the human spirit, things have never seemed more hopeless and pessimistic for the Man of Steel and DC in general. With Shazam Shazam 2 flopping and the other 3 DC movies of 2023 either having monsters starring in them or nobody even knowing they're coming out, I feel the DC/Marvel war is coming to an end, and I think the one backed by the House of Mouse is about to win. I know James Gunn is trying his best, but I feel like it is too late. Oh, so he's pretty much suggesting that maybe DC is already a lost cause. Oh boy, I don't think so. I think there could be ways for DC to come back. I mean, let him at least try this new DC universe, and if it doesn't work, well then, I mean, maybe DC just doesn't work and needs to be sold somewhere else. Who the fridge knows? Maybe Universal will know how to do with what to do with them. Monopolies are scary. All right, I'm gonna read one more comment before we move on to the next break and the next story. While the state of the DCEU pretty much feels irrelevant at the moment, given the underperforming Shazam 2, for example, this new Superman movie made by James Gunn could be what the character needed. Given that the character has been treated lately, it could be glad to see return to what he was before. As long as he is back in form, I'll be down for it. All right, so that's nice. So, again, just keep in mind that Superman will be coming back to theaters in a brand new way from James Gunn on July 11th, 2025. And we're going to go and get we're going to have another break right now. And when we do return, we are actually going to go and talk about where specifically we are streaming at right now. We are going to talk about a bit of Twitch news because looks like there are some big events happening, or not necessarily big events, but a significant moment has occurred. And it's very much like what we've recently seen on YouTube. All right, we are back. Now, when it comes to our next story, Devon, I would like to go and ask you a question. Other than, well, what's happening right now, are you familiar with anything in relation to Twitch? Do you ever watch Twitch sometimes?
Really, it's not my thing, but then again, it's for me, I'm not a active gamer anymore. Like I'll play once in a while, but it's not my cup of tea. So for me, I'm just like, oh, I didn't even know Amazon owned Twitch. I'm more of an Amazon Prime shopper than I am a Twitch watcher. So other than watching Darman videos where they do like the Twitch thing, but that's Darman, and I watch Darman. I like Darman.
Okay, so you do watch some Twitch, but it's mainly from Darman.
I guess. He's not really on Twitch. It's more like, do you know the YouTube videos where they just do like some cheesy story, but then they have some episodes where like the guy's gonna be trying to be a gamer kind of thing. Okay. If you're not familiar with it, it's cool. It's on YouTube. Everybody I've heard of Darman ironically through kids, and that's kind of how I got hooked to it.
I see. So it's from the kids at your school.
Yeah, that's kind of where I heard it from.
I see. Well, we're going to be diving into a bit of the business side of Twitch, but this is going to be something that, well, considering that I am streaming on Twitch right now, this could be something that could affect me greatly. And this is in regards to the Twitch CEO stepping down. Yes, after nearly 10 years since Amazon's acquisition, Emmett Shear has officially announced that he will be stepping down from his position as the CEO of Twitch. And the reason why he is stepping down, he explained that apparently he wants to go and focus a lot more on being a father. He just got a newborn son, so he wants to focus a lot more of his energy onto that than all the business that is going on Twitch. He even stated on his blog post, reading from my source here on CNBC, it states, oh no, wait, no, it's not up here. Oh, it's gonna be, oh yeah, okay. Up to this part. Shear said he's stepping away to spend more time with his newborn son. Shear will continue to work at Twitch in an advisory role. With the arrival of my son, the time has come for me to focus my energy on building that tiny little startup family, and I'm ready to dedicate my energy there. Twitch will always remain part of my extended family, a community where I grew up in so many ways alongside Twitch itself. And on top of that, there is also a mention in regards to who is going to be the brand new CEO. And they decided to go and give a promotion to Twitch president Dan Clancy. Now, he is going to be the new big boss of Twitch. Now, of course, this is a major part of all the different step downs that we have seen from many different CEOs. Not too long ago, there was Susan Wojcicki, who has stepped down from her position as the CEO of YouTube that we have recently talked about a few weeks ago, I believe, or maybe around a month ago. But they even mention here that there have been other major step downs from CEOs that has happened. Earlier this month, Ring CEO Jamie Siminoff announced he was stepping down from his role at the home security subsidiary. Last year, executives overseeing Amazon's Alexa and hardware research and development group, known as Lab 126, exited the company. Last July, public policy chief Jay Carney announced he was leaving to join Airbnb, and 23-year Amazon veteran Dave Clark resigned as retail chief the same month. Now, and also, just on a side note, along with this, they have also revealed that sadly at Amazon there have been a lot of layoffs that have been occurred, in which they actually stated around 9,000 or more workers have been laid off from Amazon because of the prospects of the current economy that is happening, and of course the looming recession that is going on. So that's why Amazon is also laying off thousands of employees. So Devon, I am curious if you have any thoughts in regards to this.
Personally, I mean, I'm kind of going, I understand from like just like having a new family member, like he just had a son, so I get that he wants to be more of a family man, to be able to give his child some like love and dedication, because there are unfortunately these kids that have a father figure or mother figure or whatever. They work so much, they're not there for their child. So I like that he is at least trying to be the better father. He knows that his son needs him at this time of life. And I mean, maybe this is only few year temporary and maybe he'll go back. We don't know that for sure. Or he may just maybe he won't. We don't know that. And because the first like 5 6 years of a child's life is kind of where the father and the mom need to be sort of there the most, because they want to
Mhm.
be good parents. They want to treat this is the time in their life where these kids are growing up. And I mean, and then eventually by the time they get to be 5 6 years old, they're going to school. So it really wouldn't matter, at least at that age. But when they're a baby, they need somebody there. So it's not like they can go walk around and do stuff on their own. Not as a
Yeah.
baby, anyway. So
Yeah.
I'm in that perspective, I fully understand and I respect that. I totally understand from that perspective. I don't know that much about the whole Amazon and Twitch thing. I just kind of found out just from reading this article today. So to me, that part I'm not going to be able to comment on, but at least on the family aspect and working with kids myself, that part I could definitely comment on because I work with kids a wide range of different areas over the
Yeah.
past few years, so I get that, and I
Yeah.
respect him for that.
Understandable. Now, I'm going to tell you something, Devin, that might be shocking to you because the thing is, when it comes to this news that it broke, that it was just announced, you would be shocked that even when it comes to people who are streamers, people who legit make a living on Twitch, they're pretty much in the same position as you. And this is the first time that they have heard about Twitch's CEO, Emmett Shear. Because the thing is with Emmett Shear is that for a lot of streamers, they're actually pretty happy to hear about this news because there seems to be this massive disconnect between the content creators who actually do make stuff on Twitch and the business people who are running the website, like Emmett Shear. Like if ever there's like some kind of problem that is going on, that there are some serious issues that are happening, that's when that's when the disconnect is extremely it's extremely prominent, mainly because of the fact that with Emmett Shear at the helm, it doesn't sound like he seems to care a whole lot about the needs of streamers, about the needs of like what people want. And you could tell the dude is just strictly focusing on the business aspect. And it kind of feels like there was never a CEO in the first place, that it feels like it's kind of run mechanically of sorts, that streamers could only go and like work with what they have, and they can't really tell people about if there really is a problem that's going on Twitch, because, well, Twitch barely does anything to help cater to streamers and stuff like that. So that's why there's actually been a whole lot of people who are actually happy with the Twitch CEO stepping down. But when it comes to this new one, Dan Clancy, well, you'd think that people are going to be happy that it is going to be under new management, but sadly, that doesn't seem to be the case because, according to many people who have actually interacted with Dan Clancy, they all say the same thing. Apparently, they find him to be a nice guy. They have nothing against him personally, but man, Twitch is not going to be in a good position under his leadership because, much like before with Emmett Shear, Dan Clancy doesn't seem to have any interest whatsoever with what is actually going on Twitch. Like, this is a man purely of business, that he only cares about the money. He only cares about what financially works, how to make things run on Twitch, and has no understanding of what it means to be a content creator or a streamer on Twitch. So this is someone who doesn't necessarily understand the needs of what they would want. And people now feel like the disconnect is going to be even further now with someone who's going to be taking the helm that just focuses on the business side, almost like a Bob Chapek kind of way, except we separate the personal aspect in this equation. But also, like, one thing to go and note is that one controversial thing that Dan Clancy has done is actually make the announcement of the payment change that was going to be happening on Twitch, or that will happen soon enough, because he was the one who actually made the announcement that Twitch is going to be changing their payment plan, where before, those who were partners with Twitch, they would have a 70-30 cut of the revenue. But now with this new format, everybody is going to have 50-50. Like, it doesn't matter if you're like a big partner or just a small affiliate, everyone is going to have 50-50. That's it. And if you want to have more money, then he says, well, then go and cram in more ads onto your streams. So that's why a lot of people do have a bad taste when it comes to Dan Clancy. There is no confirmation that he is the one that brainstormed this idea, but that's why a lot of people are not necessarily happy with Dan Clancy, because it feels like this is a guy who doesn't understand what it means to be a streamer on Twitch, and that there is going to be even more of a disconnect of the needs of streamers and with the corporate business of Twitch. And now things are just going to be, well, it's more likely going to be the same thing with YouTube, that we're not going to see much improvement or much change that will be going on now with the step down of the CEO. Like, you would hope that there would be some big change, but in reality, it's going to end up becoming more of the same. Even though I previously stated that with the YouTube change of CEOs, like, this could really affect it greatly. But with Dan Clancy, a lot of people said that he's not really that different from Emmett Shear, so the changes could end up becoming minimal, and whatever hopes that they would have to see Twitch improve, well, a lot of them feel a bit disappointed that they're going to be gone. So I just want to go and step in to go and express the viewpoint of the streamers. How do they feel about the situation? And a lot of it so far is just not so positive.
I mean, that makes sense. Like I said, I have no idea on that angle, just from my perspective, because I just don't watch Twitch. But I think, in my opinion, because I've worked both retail, fast food, and like working with kids at a school, there's always going to be a disconnect between the main corporate people and the actual worker, because
Mhm.
it does not matter what job you work as far as that's concerned, because no secret that fast food joints, the corporate, all they care about is money. All they care about is money. They do not care if fast food workers are not making enough money to live. They don't care if people are constantly being frustrated with these workers, because there's these nasty people that get upset for sometimes no reason at these people. I'm like, get a grip. Like, not everybody, all like it this in general is a problem. Like, a lot of it is people don't want to work, people can't find work, or nobody wants to work like weekends. Everybody just wants, like, hey, I can work during the week, but then once the weekend starts, everybody makes plans. Restaurants get busy and they don't always have the staff, or um or like with schools, and like I've been working in a school where some people get frustrated with how the main corporate with the main like downtown people react to students' behaviors, and how they don't always punish the kids for not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and instead of having consequences for their actions, sometimes they get out scot-free. So I'm always going to say it does not matter what business you run, there's always going to be a massive disconnect between the main corporate people and the people who are working their butts
Mhm.
off. And it's sad. Like, streamers feel very frustrated. There's fast food workers, there's retail people, there's all kinds of people. They get so frustrated with whatever job they are working. And
Mm.
that is why there's been a phenomenon of TikTok, where people post their frustrations through there, or like Instagram, Snapchat, whatever. People do it. People post their frustrations, or people do like those compilation shorts on YouTube. Like, I'm frustrated. Fuck you. I
Mhm.
mean, seriously, how often do you see that? All the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, that is true. But I just want to go and add that, well, yeah, like, yeah, people are really going to go and do so. And I mean, there is a lot more on the line for people who would go and stream or make content for either Twitch or YouTube, because that is their entire business. At least with BK, or like with school, for example, with those factors, like it is a stable and secure job where like everything is offered to you. But when it
Yeah,
comes
that's
to
true.
like Twitch and YouTube, like those are self-made people. Those are people who have to make their business from the ground up. So a
Okay,
lot
that's
so
fair.
so yeah, for them it's a lot more personal. For them, like, this really is their entire, like, this isn't just their job, this is their entire business. So when you see YouTube or Twitch not catering to their business, then yeah, they will take it far more personally than those who would be at like BK or McDonald's or whatever. Like those people, yeah, like, I mean, they deserve to have better working conditions, but I'm just saying how content creators, they have a lot more of a personal connection to what they're working on than, let's say, BK or McDonald's.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So that's something that I want to go and bring up, especially when, again, we are streaming here on Twitch. And I feel like it is worth talking about, considering that, again, like when you go and see like these big management changes, like sometimes it would be the prospect of who's going to be like the next CEO. And for the looks of things with this new CEO, the chances of seeing a lot more positive changes, well, they're sadly not that great. And if we are hoping in the future that we will experience a better Twitch, well, that remains to be seen. But for now, I hate to be the pessimist in here, but don't really keep your hopes up on that. Like with how things are right now, yeah, it'll be the same as how it's been before. Oh crap. I just noticed something. I just noticed apparently my my connection is just down.
Yeah.
Not again. You can still hear me, right? Okay, so thing yeah. Give me a second. Crap. Okay, so maybe, yeah, this whole thing. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, we are back. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we have returned.
Yeah, you had like a disconnect for a minute.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, maybe this wired internet doesn't really do much for me. Okay, but either way, we have pretty much said our piece in this. Like the fact that we are getting a new CEO, that some changes are not going to be prominent, but I don't know. Ultimately, we'll see how it goes. Okay, so with that said and done, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to ask you all, how do you feel about Twitch's new CEO? Do you feel like you have more information about Dan Clancy you would like to share with us? Do you think things are going to get better for Twitch? Do you think things are going to get worse? Let me know what you think on all this. Okay. What the heck is happening over here? I hope the new CEO doesn't mess with ads. That's a big reason why I go and it's a 2-for-1 sale at Bitch Tits Delivery Service. 2 for 1 for everything. Chicken, shepherd's pie, dead babies. Order now. What are you waiting for, ya imbecile? With an onion ring and toaster. And that, folks, is how I saved Christmas. Hope you wrote that down. I gotta test you later. Oh, that is beautiful. Why am I not surprised this big Twitch payment change decision? Businesses can't thrive eternally on money ranking. People who work there wouldn't be able to live anywhere or pay for their foods with such microscopic wages. Capitalism is indeed killing humanity, and we are all blinded by corporate propaganda. Thankfully, there are some people that are seeing through the media's veil of deceit. Change is coming, but it's going to be slow. Okay, then. Man, that escalated quickly. Let's see now. I can honestly respect Emmett's decision for stepping down to spend more time with his family, especially when he now has a son to take care of. However, now that we got Dan Clancy stepping in, now there's some uncertainty about Twitch's future and the streamers themselves. If Dan focuses too much on making money and too little on the streamers, then Twitch's future might be looking dark. For me, I just don't want to be forced to see over 5 ads in a row. Yeah, that's why it's not always ideal to go and stream on Twitch, but I mean, like, you know, like, there's always the pros and cons of either streaming on Twitch or, like, streaming on YouTube, you know? Let's see what else we got here. Personally, when it comes to Twitch, I mostly use it for this podcast. And with Dan Clancy as the new CEO, I'm very worried, which he might not be the worst CEO. He could end up caring about making profit and not caring about expanding Twitch. So overall, I'm not excited, although it could be worse. At least Dan Clancy isn't involved with NFTs in any way. Yes, and well, someone even mentioned the Twitch CEO hacked the stream. Yes, it is. Yeah, that one glitchy moment is because of Dan Clancy. Make things better, dang it!
As long as there's onion rings involved.
Oh, yeah, that is true. And it doesn't seem like many people have a lot to go and comment. So, with that said, oh, wait, we do have one more. I don't go to Twitch often, other than you and occasionally Saberspark, but it's no surprise that the switch up with Twitch CEOs will be no different. But other than that, not all this is exciting. Exactly. It's not a great news to go and hear. All right, so with that said, now we're going to go into another break. And this time around, we're going to be diving into some controversy. And one person brought up that it could be worse with the CEO. They could be like with how things are going with Sesame Workshop. And we are back. Now, Devon, when it comes to our next story, you just mentioned that you love Sesame Street, don't you?
Oh, yes, and I love to go to Sesame Street one day.
Well, I mean, there
Yes.
is Sesame Place. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, that's true. It's no secret growing up, like my family and my friends who knew me, I was obsessed with Sesame Street to the point where I went to a Sesame Street Live thing when I was like 3. And guess who got away from their mother and ran on stage? Yeah, my mom had to chase through a crowd to get me, and Cookie Monster picked me up. I was 3. I was obsessed. Like every single like Sesame Street theme thing I watched Learning to Share once or twice because apparently that made me so emotional that I had a meltdown and my parents had to lock that movie away for more than 10 years.
The Forbidden
I
Sesame Street movie.
I did not like the fact that they knocked Big Bird's train over. I was like 5. I was mad. I mean, imagine being a 5-year-old and having a meltdown. It was
Well,
so
I
funny.
mean, it looks like with what has happened recently, though, you may not have been the only one who had a meltdown in relation to Sesame Street, because I could tell you many fans have, especially with the recent news when it comes to Sesame Street NFTs. Yes, it is official. Sesame Workshop is now collaborating with the NFT company Vivi in order to go and make new digital collectibles based on Sesame Street. The first one that they went and released is based on Cookie Monster. And they say that there are only going to be a limited amount, specifically 5,555 editions of the Cookie Monster NFT. And already Muppets and Sesame Street fans are hating this. So far, for the most part, it's been getting a significant backlash. People are mad about it. And even on this article here on NBC News, there are some mentions about prominent Muppet fans who are really not happy. Specifically, one of which being Becca Petunia, who is a writer on the popular Muppet themed website Tough Pigs. To which I'll go and read you a little bit from my source here on NBC News. Apparently, Becca stated, "NFTs are very much against the ideals I associate with Sesame Street. The Cookie Monster NFT seems financially inaccessible for most people and aimed to those with disposable income. The environmental impact is questionable, which contradicts Sesame Street's many ecological messages. It isn't a product which feels purposeful or important." There is also another comment coming from the Muppet related social media account Muppet History, to which they stated here, Sesame Street was built on helping educate children in lower income living to give those less privileged the opportunity to learn before entering preschool. This nostalgia fueled cash grab goes against that ideology entirely, and it's sickening. On top of many, and I do mean many other comments that goes against NFTs. Now, Sesame Workshop themselves did not speak out in regards to the negative comments in regards to the Cookie Monster NFT, but they did put out this statement saying, the launch of Sesame Street digital collectibles helps fund our mission-driven work to help children everywhere grow smarter, stronger, and kinder, while giving our longtime adult fans a new way to showcase their love for Sesame Street characters. The partnership with Vivi is an opportunity to explore the digital space to connect with collectors in ways that resonate with them. So, Devon, just out of curiosity, as a Sesame Street fan yourself, how do you feel about this whole controversy?
I'm agreeing with the Muppet History and the Tough Pigs people. I really agree with this because, first of all, NFTs, I'm not a fan of them in general. I think they're pointless. I think they're stupid. And I just don't see the point in them. It's kind of like downloading, in my opinion, it's almost like downloading just like a random picture online in to some degree. It's not exactly that. That's a little too vague for that, but I digress. That's not my thing. I don't like it. I don't get it. It just doesn't make sense to me. Well, but I agree with what they had to say, especially about like the history of how Sesame Street came to be and how it's contradicting that because they were right. Like Sesame Street was based on like helping the lower income children learn how to read and learn numbers and ABC for preschoolers because there were kids that just didn't have the same access to like learning the way like the lower income children were lucky if they could go to school. And not everybody had the same privileges. And not everybody had the same type of environment they grew up in. So I respect Sesame Street for being able to diversify and go to different like perspectives. They were able to get different types of people on their show and try to talk about all kinds of different subjects, especially with like having like a Latina Muppet with Rosita or having different or like all kinds of different Muppets. It's really hard to describe all that. But I respect the show for that. And it's been running for many years for a reason. It still resonates with many different types of people. So for me, the NFTs are kind of going, you know, how many people are buying NFTs? Really?
Mhm.
It's just like a select few. And how many people have the money to pay for NFTs? Though especially it makes me laugh where I heard the number 5,004 what was it? 5,455 or
No, five,
whatever.
five, 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 five. 5,555. Did I
That
go too
is
fast for you?
no, but oh no, but that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. I'm sorry.
I don't know. They
What?
want to make it's Sesame Street. I guess like they just obsessed with numbers, or I don't know why the fridge they
No,
picked that.
I don't know either, but it's like, hey, we're watching Sesame Street. This is brought to you by the number 5. Give
Yeah.
me a
So
break. No, give me a break. I can't. And I've read multiple like Sesame Street like autobiographies like talking about the history of Sesame Street and they're very good or biographies would be more accurate. But I digress. I think it's very it's very awesome that this show has been around for so long and for like people to have grown up with it ranging from like when it first started in the 60s to now being in 2023 where there's still 5-year-olds that are quoting like Big Bird and Rosita and Elmo and Grover and Bert and Ernie and all these characters like they're still relevant even today. I don't actively watch Sesame Street now, so I know there's other characters that were added within recent years, so I can't quote on anything that's newer, but I will say that I respect what they have done. They are trying to hit this new era and add new types of Muppets in, and I respect that. There is nothing wrong with that. And we can't just stick to the past. We have to move on to the future. Do I think the NFT thing is a good idea? No. In my personal opinion, it just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. No, you definitely hit the nail on the head when you talked about like the purpose of Sesame Street, and it is true. Like the main reason why Sesame Street was created is to give to give poor children the opportunity to have access that normally people with higher income would be able to get, and that is education. Like education is essential to life, so Sesame Street is able to go and provide it to those who normally would not be able to go and have access to it. So it's a long tradition for Sesame Street to go and help out the poor. But lately it feels like they have been entering into like not a whole lot, but like they have often found themselves in controversy where they would go and like try to do some actions that feel like are just exclusive to people with a higher income. Not just with the entire NFT scenario, but there was also the controversy when they signed on with HBO and they made that deal with them to go and produce new episodes to be released first with them, which kind of feels like there is a bit of an unfair advantage where the more privileged and people with higher income, they would get better access to Sesame Street than those with lower income, which kind of does contradict with like what Sesame Street is all about in the first place. So you definitely covered like so much of that, and you're absolutely right with it. But one thing that for me that feels absolutely shocking is seeing not just Sesame Street, but just seeing all these big companies in general. Why are they still engaged with NFTs or crypto in general? Because this year we have seen how NFTs are like you should never go and touch them, how they are objectively a bad investment, regardless if it's NFTs or bitcoins or whatever. Crypto is something that you need to avoid at all costs, because this year we have seen some major corporations not get bankrupt, but pretty much get destroyed altogether. Like maybe you, Devon, even you have heard maybe in the news in relation to the whole like destruction of a company called FTX, which used to be one of the most prominent companies in relation to crypto. Or even very recently, there was the Silicon Valley Bank, or SVP, that got destroyed as well. And that was a very prominent company in which they helped out a lot of other smaller companies that would go and like be fueled by crypto. So you know that crypto played a very significant part in those roles, but now those companies, they are flat out dead, and the founders of those companies are going to be living the rest of their lives in a financial and legal nightmare. That's all they're going to be dealing with until the day they die. So you think that seeing these events unfurl, seeing how crypto is just crashing and burning, that they're not just seeing their own recession. We are seeing a legit crypto apocalypse happening where they may not come out at the end. You'd think that companies would go and bail out entirely. But no, we're still seeing companies like the Jim Henson Company or even Sesame Workshop still get involved in this crap, that they would still go and try to create these NFTs. And it just makes me wonder, like, why? Why even get yourself involved in these things? Like, this isn't really going to help you financially, because in the long run, it's just going to be worthless. It's just going to be money burned down to the ground. It's all going to be meaningless because they're all digital. And these are assets that could easily get hacked and you could just lose it in a snap. Like, I am most like, yeah, sure, I got my Blu-ray collection right over here. And some people might wonder, oh, why don't you do that digitally? Why not just delete all this and just have a file on your computer? Well, I mean, here's the thing, though. Yeah, I could keep things in my computer, but if someone decides to go and hack my computer, well, there goes everything in my possession. At least here, I can gladly own a copy of Marcel the Shell with Shoes on instead of just having a computer file in which it would be left in a vulnerable spot. So that's honestly the big thing that I feel shocked about, is just seeing companies like, yeah, let alone the fact that freaking Sesame Workshop is getting involved in this thing, but just seeing big companies still being involved with NFTs, despite the fact that we are seeing again and again and again how crypto in general is not financially feasible. Like, it's something that you should avoid in general if you want to be smart with your money, and yet these companies still want to go and dabble onto the crypto world, that they still think that there's some money that would be involved in this. No, man. I mean, like, honestly, this is just the beginning that we're going to see. Like, sooner or later, we're also going to be hearing some other big companies like Crypto.com going to be flat out destroyed because of how bad things are going with cryptocurrency right now.
Yeah, I think it is. I agree with you. Like, I'm not into the whole crypto thing, and I knew people who were. I don't even know if
Oh,
they are
really?
still now. Yeah, I had a teacher last year who was very much into crypto.
Oof.
Was not. I didn't care. I wasn't interested, so I didn't bother. And I'm glad, because it just wasn't for me anyway. But especially now after hearing what's going on, yeah, I'm glad I didn't bother, because
Mhm.
it just anything digital, I agree with you. Like, you could have your computer hacked within 2 seconds in true reality. You could have your computer hacked. So having like all the digital copies of movies, I mean, not that that isn't a good idea if you're on the road or something like that, but not having a vi- physical version is just kind of stupid depending on the movie. Like like for me, I love Disney movies, so I have a good chunk of Disney movies on DVD, and I still have like my favorite Disney movie is Aladdin, which I have multiple versions of that movie. I have it on VHS still. I have the DVD, I have the Blu-ray, I have Disney Plus so I can watch it digitally. Um I have many ways I could watch it, but holding a physical copy in my hand just feels tangible. It's like this movie meant a lot to me, and I have something I can show for it. When you're just on the computer, I mean, yes, it's there, but it's not, you can't feel it in your hand. I
Mhm.
know I'm very, very old fashioned on certain things. I'm not a like tech wizard. I'm really not. Matt, you know this very well. I'm not a
Yeah,
tech wizard.
she's right.
Nope. He laughs at me all the time for it. She's like, what? You know, I'm like,
It
I
gives
don't
me
know what the.
material. What can I say?
All right, Mr. Comedian, but Mr. Tech Comedian. Nah. But I prefer having like the old fashioned, like writing stuff down on paper. I like having VHS, like DVDs. I like having CDs still. I like both ways. I'm not saying that I don't. But having something tangible in your hand just feels more real.
Mhm.
And that is why I prefer like I write stuff down. I have paper. You know, people use handwriting. You don't have
Yeah.
to type everything on your computer. So that's just me. I mean, that's a personal thing, and the NFT thing, I hope it dies quick, because you know what?
Mhm.
Having something tangible in your hand, like going to buy, like like playing cards, for example.
Yeah.
You could go buy Sesame Street cards. I'd rather have that any day than buying something online that I could lose within maybe 2 seconds.
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree with you. Also, I just want to go and quickly point out that Devon says that she likes it both ways, so take that as you will. But with that,
Oh, asshole.
I just had to slip it in, man. I was just waiting for it, and then just boom.
That's for Matt. This is only for Matt, and then all the chat wall people are gonna have fun with that.
Oh boy. But yeah, I think it's safe to say overall, yeah, like it is disappointing to see companies like Sesame Workshop getting into NFTs and stuff like that. And it's just ridiculous to see that this is still going despite how it's been proven again and again that they are just a financial disaster amongst other issues. So yeah, I believe with that said, now we could go into the chat wall. And I want to ask you all, how do you all feel about Sesame Workshop getting into NFTs with that Cookie Monster NFT? Let me know what you think on that. Let's see. This is a very terrible decision from Sesame Workshop. I thought NFTs were dead, but apparently we're wrong. I agree with you, Devon. NFTs doesn't work and we don't need them. They're a huge scam. Cryptos are something we'll never be invested in. Not cool, Sesame Workshop. Not cool. Also, whatever happened to Tara Strong's NFT movie? Oh, that is true. I don't know. That thing, I think that thing is gone. Because it was supposed to be released at the end of 2022. Like, at least that was according to the plan. But I don't know. That thing might have disappeared. And I think Tara managed to walk away. Tara and her new boyfriend managed to walk away with some cash.
That's funny.
Oh, yeah. So that's why she's invested in NFTs. I see. Let's see now. Not gonna lie, with the introduction given to this section, I thought to myself, wait, Sesame Workshop? Oh god, what did Rosita do this time? Oh god, not that one. After learning what it really is, I think this is worse. Remember, kids, the letter of the day is S. What does S stand for? That's right, scam, just like an NFT. Now, if you guys don't mind, I gotta step out for a sec and find my stash of shepherd's pie. I keep running out for some reason. All right, let's see. Oh, wow, a lot of these people have the same joke of like the letters. Hey kids, Sesame Street has been brought to you by the letters SCAM, and the number of the day is 0. I love Sesame Street so much, but this ain't it, Sesame Workshop, and whatever company they made these pointless NFTs. Hopefully NFTs do fail harder than last year. I remember the craziness of 2021 when everyone was obsessed with it, and NFTs and immediately just went downhill. Yeah, that is true. Like, they peaked on November of 2021, I believe, and then straight afterwards, it just went, like, just down. Like, even to this day, I think it's, like, over, what, 90% or 90, somewhere between 90 and 95%, like, it just went down from its peak value. Let's see what else we got here. Out of everything Sesame Street could have done, making NFTs might have just been the stupidest thing they could have ever done. That's this right here doesn't just go against everything that Sesame Street stands for, but NFTs and crypto have just been on a massive decline in terms of value. Both of them are the worst fads that could have ever existed, with how ludicrous the prices are and the damages it causes to the environment. Well, at least Pokemon won't get NFTs. Oh, come on. Oh boy, yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of crazy, like the financial aspect is one thing, and the environmental aspect is another thing that can make it so, like, that's another entire subject in itself of how it's so much worse. And I know, like, people are gonna try to go and defend it by saying, like, well, this is better than real toys used by, like, that uses harmful materials and stuff like that. Yeah, but you know that often using technology can be worse. I mean, like, even VV itself can go and promote as like a more environmentally friendly thing, but I can guarantee you that's just like a marketing stunt right there. Like, the damage that they're the damage that they are doing, like, it's still as bad or even worse than creating real toys of Sesame Street characters. Like, maybe they're more environmentally friendly than other NFT companies, but that's honestly not saying much. Let's see now. I cannot believe these companies are still getting involved with NFTs. Of all companies, Sesame Workshop is the last company I expect to get involved with NFTs. Crypto in general is something that no one should never invest into, and I am honestly waiting for the day that NFTs and cryptos crash and burn because they are nothing but scams and a waste of money. Well, I mean, that's what we are seeing right now, especially with the fall of FTX and SVB. Like, we're seeing them dying mainly because of crypto. despite the fact that it's so stupid, like with the downfall of Silicon Valley Bank, they're honestly trying to pin the blame on like woke culture. They're trying to say like, oh well, it's because we hired too many black people and LGBTQ plus people, and because we hired too many women. That's the problem. That's why that's why the company crashed and burned. It's like, bruh, like even the media called them out by saying like, no, that is not the case. Like everyone knows for a fact that it's not because of woke culture that Silicon Valley Bank crashed and burned. Okay, it's because too much incompetent Elon Musk wannabes, and it's because of crypto. That's what killed it. All right, I'll read one more comment before we go and move on to the next story. Let's see. Why Sesame Street Workshop? Just why? NFTs is again not a good company to, or not a good way to invest. And seeing that Sesame Workshop getting involved with it is just sad. So remember, kids, if you see anyone asks you to get involved with NFTs, don't. All right, so we're gonna go and take another break, but when we do come back to our next story, I think it's time that in this crazy cartoon cast we do talk about cartoons, right, Devon?
Yeah.
Exactly. So we'll be right back, and we will go and lighten up the mood with some cartoons. You'll see what I mean later. All right, we are back. And for our next story, Devon, I believe this is a show that you are most definitely familiar with. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Being a
Yes.
Disney lover, absolutely, yes.
Yeah, and you have heard that there is going to be a revival of this, correct?
Yes, and here is I have to say this. Mom, AniMat's talking about Phineas and Ferb.
Of course. So with that said, now I believe this one will be a lot more for you, because we did get an update in which the Phineas and Ferb revival, yes, that's what we are talking about, will be getting another co-creator back, which is Jeff Swampy Marsh. Yes, on top of having Dan Povenmire work on the series, the other creator of the show, Jeff Swampy Marsh, has been revealed that he will be in charge of the series alongside him, both as an executive producer and the voice director of all 40 episodes of the Phineas and Ferb revival, on top of also working on his Disney Junior preschool series, Hey AJ. And also, we do have a quote here coming from Meredith Roberts, the EVP of television animation at Disney Branded Television. Reading from my source directly on Animation Magazine, it states, Swampy is one of the brightest creators in animation, and among his many passions is connecting and collaborating with creative people. Whether it's through writing, animation design, directing, music, or acting, he continuously elevates their artistry as well as his own to tell the bigger and more entertaining stories for global audiences. We're thrilled to be continuing our partnership and looking forward to a long and exciting road ahead. And on top of that, just want to go and read this little passage here for those of you who don't necessarily know who Jeff Swampy Marsh is. A musician, animator, writer, producer, director, and voice actor, including the voice of Major Francis Monogram in Phineas and Ferb, Marsh helps ensure his appreciation of both music and zany comedy was a significant part of Phineas and Ferb. He and Povenmire wrote more than 450 original songs encompassing pop, rock, swing, and jazz for the franchise. Music, which was twice nominated for Emmy Awards. So, Devon, I think it's safe to say that you are a lot more familiar with Phineas and Ferb than I am. So I'm going to give you the mic on this. So, Devon, take it away.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like I said, when Phineas and Ferb came out, I was hooked. I was one of those people that really loved the show. And it is a very creative show. Like, it literally is about these two brothers, one brother and one stepbrother. They were basically kind of like the mom and the dad were married. Like, they had previous relationships before, but they got married, and then these two brothers became very close, and they started building these inventions and doing all kinds of crazy adventures. And then there's this older sister named Candace who is trying to bust her brothers for every single invention that they create. And through side B plot here, somehow the invention is completely gone. And it is hilarious. This Candace, the sister, gets so pissed off because she's like, Mom, Phineas and Ferb are trying to create something.
Yeah.
And I love it. The show is very creative, even though there's a lot of like there's a lot of things that are very familiar about the show. Like they do a lot of basically repeating of like plots and stuff, but it's of good familiar. It's not like trying to just be boring. Like they make the brothers have very interesting inventions. The characters are very fun. I really liked my favorite character in the show, obviously besides Candace, I loved her. There was Phineas, Ferb. I liked Isabella as a character. She was the friend of Phineas and Ferb who was like in a Girl Scouts. It's been a while since I've seen the show, so correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember. I think she was in the Girl Scouts um group along with these other girls, and they would help and with the certain inventions, or they would be involved with some scheme that they're doing. It was a great show, and all the characters were very unique. There was like Baljeet the geek, there was, and I can't remember them all right now. It's been a while since I've watched the show, but I liked there was a side plot where Perry is a platypus who is a secret agent. How he became a secret agent, we don't know. And they are part of this group called like the OWCA, where these animals have a secret identity of being secret agents and going to fight these bad guys. There's Dr. Doofenshmirtz, and he is hilarious. His plots might be crazy and out there, but that's what makes it fun. And there's Major Monogram, who's the leader of OWCA, and his sidekick, who's an intern that doesn't get paid for anything. And I like that the show was both familiar and not familiar at the same time. It didn't it tried to go outside the box. It wasn't just like insert the formula here every single episode. There were certain TV specials where they went outside the box or did homages to different TV shows, and they had fun with they had fun with it. And that's why the show has lasted for so long. And the music is super memorable. There are songs like Busted where Dr. Doofenshmirtz's daughter, Vanessa, and Candace sing this song about trying to bust like for Doofenshmirtz's daughter trying to bust Dr. Doofenshmirtz's his crazy inventions, and Candace is trying to go after her brothers, and that's a fun song. And or the Squirrels in My Pants song, which I can't believe they had an SIMP song before SIMP became a thing.
Yeah, they they originated simping.
Yeah, they really did, and that's what kills me. I'm like, no, we didn't need Squirrels in My Pants, but we'll go with it. It's hilarious.
Check out,
I think you should listen to that song.
Did you see that girl though? Oh man, it makes me it makes me have squirrels in my pants.
You perv.
Hey, that could be what simping means all along. You know, it's like swag.
You are such a freak.
Oh, I'm the freak here?
Yes, you are.
For what?
Yes, you are.
Just yes, you are. That's all you got? Yes, you are?
That's all my response to that one.
That's your response when you have your little like Elvis bags behind you?
What? I love Elvis. Shut up. I mean, seriously, you're an ass. But can I finish what I'm talking about here? Okay. As
all right,
I was
Simper.
saying, I'm ready to smack you, I swear. Okay. As I was saying, there's what's fun about all these different songs is there's like a wide variety of different music. Like the theme song basically was sung by Bowling for Soup. Do you remember that band?
Bowling for Soup. Somehow it sounds familiar.
They sung 1985.
Oh, those guys. Oh my god, yeah.
They were very famous at the time, and the creators wanted them to sing the theme song. They got
Ah.
multiple different famous people to sing in their show. Bowling
Yeah.
for Soup was actually one of them, and funny enough, I know there was an episode where they actually animated the Bowling for Soup bandmates into an episode, which I
Mhm.
thought was awesome.
Yeah, I
That's great.
remember there's often some celebrity cameos that would appear and like not like the typical way, but sometimes like there's like unexpected cameos. Like I remember there was one that was shared around on social media that we saw a Shaun of the Dead cameo from both Simon Pegg and Nick Frost where it was like this episode, like I don't know the context of it, but suddenly people were all turning into Dr. Doofenshmirtz and like everybody like and they were just talking to each other and then like both of them were suddenly transformed into Dr. Doofenshmirtz going, lots of me, lots of me.
Oh, it is so funny because all like the show has been around for so long that everybody can quote at least something from the show. And Dan Povenmire and Jeffrey Swampy
Doofenshmirtz.
Marsh,
Okay,
they
sorry. Doofenshmirtz.
I can't shush. As a
No,
the
sorry.
creators
I
really
was just reading a comment like saying like it's pronounced Doofenshmirtz and not Doofen.
yeah, that's my bad. I can't pronounce today. It's very hard to pronounce.
No, I think it's
Um
me. I think it's more me.
all right. Yeah, that's actually right.
All right.
But as I was saying, all these different characters and they create and then there was other songs they did like I'm trying to think of one right now. Um oh my gosh, I was just looking up Phineas and Ferb songs too. Hold on. They had the Phineas and Ferb obviously the theme song is so memorable. They had the one TV movie where they did like Gitchy Gitchy Goo. That was a fun song. Gitchy Gitchy Goo means I love you. I love that. And they had Busted. They had the one where they're trying to get the band back together. There's this band that his parents really love. They're trying to get the band back together so that they'll sing some song for their parents' anniversary. Again, I like that this show was able to have me remember songs that I can remember what the episode was even about.
Yeah,
So,
and already I'm seeing people on the chat wall even suggesting like other songs like one already suggested Busted, I'm being
yeah.
controlled by a platypus.
Oh my god, that was a good one.
Some people are suggesting Love Handle.
Oh yes, that was the band they were trying to get back together.
Yeah,
Love
Love
Handle.
Handle. You also got Muffin, No Rhythm, uh
Get no
Bobblehead
rhythm.
Perry the Platypus as well.
Yeah. There was my favorite, the one they said about the no rhythm. You ain't got rhythm. He's trying to get this band member that's working in the library to come back and join the band again. But he's like beating to the table beat and he's going, I ain't got rhythm. No, I ain't got rhythm. And they turn it into a song and it's hilarious. And the librarian's trying to go, shh. It's so funny. I
Yeah.
love the show for that, and I'm very excited that they're bringing it back because
Hmm?
I will admit I didn't watch the whole show all the way to the end, espe- but I did watch a lot of it, and it was a very memorable show. I understand why a lot of people remember this show. Like it was very memorable. There was all kinds of relatable characters like Baljeet the geek, Buford the bully. There was there was Jeremy, Candace's crush she had. She had this crush on this guy named Jeremy, who voiced by Mitchell Musso, by the way, which I think is pretty funny. They had brought Disney veterans back, like Ashley Tisdale, Mitchell Musso, and other famous voice actors. But I think the show was a lot of fun, and they did have fun with creating memorable songs, memorable characters, and even a formula. It might have been a formula, but it was a formula that worked. It wasn't boring. They created a very wonderful show, and I'm glad that the show is coming back, and I am intrigued to see how they're going to do this new 40 episodes. I don't know if they're going to dive deeper into like what happened later, if they're going to go to school or how, I don't know. That's what I'm curious about, because literally the whole show is about them being on summer vacation and building these weird inventions throughout the whole summer. They never talk about school. They always meant it was sort of in the background, but it wasn't really there. Like nobody talked about Phineas and Ferb at school. That was
Right.
the whole point. That's why it's called 104 Days of Summer Vacation.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's true.
So I would love to, in my personal opinion, I would love to see that just out of pure curiosity to see if they would either change the formula a little bit or if they would put their characters in a new scenario and see what happens. Because these characters are already so memorable, so why not have a little bit of fun and change the scenario up a bit? I mean, it doesn't have to completely change, mind you, because how else are they gonna come up with having Perry the Platypus fight Doofenshmirtz, I don't know, 40 more episodes?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
I
it's
mean,
true. So what you're suggesting is a little bit like Ed, Ed, and Eddie, where for a good while, like the setting was just like these kids in a cul-de-sac during the summer, and then suddenly in the later seasons, they decided to spice things up and put them in a school environment.
I would like to see that. I know, like I said, I haven't watched the whole ending of the original show, so I can't remember. I don't think they ever did a school environment, but I know for the most part they were sticking with summer vacation, and I would like to see that, in my personal opinion, just out of just to see if they spice it up or find a way to put it outside the box like they've always done. And they're very good writers. They know how to bring out the emotion of these characters. They know how to create integrate songs into each of the episodes. Not every episode, mind you. It's like some episodes they
Mhm.
integrated songs. And which is why a good chunk of them became, like, I know two or three I think were nominated for Emmy awards.
Yeah, they say two were nominated.
Two were nominated. That's what I thought. And I understand why. They're so catchy and they get stuck in your head. I was talking to a coworker at work. The moment I started singing 104 Days of Summer Vacation, she's like, "School comes along just to end it." I mean, it's that memorable. Like people just remember, like the moment you start singing a little bit of the theme song,
Mhm.
people know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's
And
like yeah, like Phineas and Ferb is the first thing you think of when someone says 104 days.
yeah, exactly. Nobody has been able to recreate an a show like that with massive success and appeal like Phineas and Ferb. I mean, I know that I think Dan Povenmire did some other shows after that. I don't remember if it was both of them or just Dan. I can't remember right now.
I think
But they did.
I'm not 100% sure either, but I know what you're talking about. Like there's Milo Murphy's Law, and there's the
Yeah.
new show he has right now, which I know is just him, is Hamster and Gretel.
Yeah, that's it. Cuz I haven't seen either one of those shows, so I can't quote if they're any good or not. Honestly should, just because I liked Phineas and Ferb so much, just to see if they, but I realized they never really had the same appeal the way Phineas and Ferb did. And I think just because part of it is like Disney Channel was on a decline during that
Hmm.
period after Phineas and Ferb ended, and a lot of people were kind of streaming was playing a huge role in that as well. So I mean, it's not completely their fault or anything, but a lot of people just started going after Phineas and Ferb. What was really left of Disney Channel? Like I liked that Defunctland Disney Channel theme video where I will say for me, I grew up in that era of Disney Channel where they had all the, it's like, "Hi, I'm Miley Cyrus and you are watching the Disney Channel." And they did the Hard or Hillary Duff or whatever. I
Yeah.
grew up in that era. I know you did not, but I did. I grew up in that era watching Disney Channel, and as the years went by, like had a weird phase with animation on Disney Channel. They didn't do that nearly as much, except for like Kim Possible, Proud Family, and etc. Phineas and Ferb was that other show that managed to just bring back the
Hmm.
love of animation again. If
Yeah,
it wasn't for
like it started a renaissance for Disney television animation.
yeah, if it wasn't for Phineas and Ferb, I don't think some of these other shows would have happened. So I really applaud how well they were able to create an interesting show. I really do,
Hmm.
and I loved it from the very moment I watched it. And I did watch a good chunk of the premieres, and I just think that they had figured out a way to make a formula work. They made a formula work, and that's saying something. Like, you're watching the same type of episode. It's insert A plot, B plot is Perry the platypus fighting Doofenshmirtz. A and B plot are the same. They don't change that very much. Those are exactly the same. It's how they execute the plots is what makes the show very interesting. Like,
Right.
they don't keep it exactly the same, but they keep the idea the same.
Yeah. So overall, would you say you're excited for what they got with this new series now that it is confirmed that both Dan Povenmire and Swampy Marsh are going to be coming back?
Yes. Because, first of all, you can't have Dan Povenmire without Doofenshmirtz, and they both voice characters on the show, so I understand why they came back.
Hmm.
And they wouldn't be the same without them. So I am very excited.
Nice. So I think with that said, let's go into the chat wall. And now I want to ask you all, how do you all feel of the return of Jeff Swampy Marsh now that he's also coming back for Phineas and Ferb? How do you feel about this entire scenario? Let me know what you all think on this. Let's see. Phineas and Ferb was one of my animated series that I grew up with when I was a kid, and the fact that Jeff Swampy Marsh is coming back is awesome. For both him and Dan Povenmire are a great duo and made the show what it is today. So overall, I'm very excited for this revival. Also, regarding your comment about squirrels in my pants, the only thing I could do is quote Doofenshmirtz, she's 16! Devon is like close to 30. What are you talking about?
Josh, I think we're only, what, a year apart?
Well, I think maybe, I don't know, but still, like,
Well, like less than a
this
year.
does this look 16?
Screw you. Seriously, that's not funny.
16 times what though?
This is for you. Chat wall, have fun how many times I give Matt the finger on this show. Screw you.
Hey, I'm surprised that you're only starting now to do so, to be fair.
Whatever, dude.
All right. Well, I couldn't find the pies, but I did find monkeys with BTDS tattooed on his belly. Anyway, Swampy brought so much to the show, and Major Monogram was one of my favorite characters alongside Doofenshmirtz. So, I am more than welcome for this return. Also, you want a real good song suggestion? Look up Perry's Hat. It'll take you on a spiritual journey. Can you confirm this, Devon?
Like I said, it's been a while. That probably was towards the later end of the show. I'd actually should listen to it myself. Though, that has to be at the later end of the show, because I remember a good chunk of it, but I don't remember that song. That might have been why. I'll
I
look it
see.
up myself too.
Okay, out of every Disney Channel show, Phineas and Ferb is easily one of my favorites of all time. This show managed to just have one formula and is still incredibly fun with so many lovable characters and catchy songs. And I personally see it as the start of Disney's animated series renaissance. So to see it come back makes me happy, and I am excited to see what they will bring to the table for this. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to take over the tri-state area with this. My Twitch Crashinator! Oh, trust me, Doofenshmirtz has been practicing a lot on the Twitch Crashinator on me. AniMat's is a good practice run to see how it works. I mean, so far it's been fine.
Doofenshmirtz Sable Incorporated.
I managed to do so one time on this stream. If I could do it once, then I meet my quota. Oh, let's see what else we got here. All right, I'll go with this one. I am more than happy that I heard that Jeff Swampy Marsh returns to Phineas and Ferb. I was a huge Phineas and Ferb fan during its original run. I watched a TV movie and a show at California Adventure. I even own many merchandise. Cannot wait for the revival. Hey, nice. Let's see what else do we have here. What other comment? All right, I think I'll read one more before we go and go into the grand finale. I am super happy and excited that not only that Jeff Swampy Marsh is back to work on the revival, but also reprising his role as Major Monogram. I was a little worried of how the Phineas and Ferb revival will work with new ideas and characters, and really hope they could bring something new on the table. But now with Swampy returning, I have confidence that the revival will be worth it now that he is working on it. I already said my thoughts on Phineas and Ferb returning, so I am hyped to watch this. All right, so now we got one more story that we are going to go into, and this will be quite a grand finale because this is an animated film that honestly came out of nowhere, but it looks like we are going to be getting one of the big ones this summer. And now, folks, this is it. We are about to cap this off with the grand finale. And with this grand finale, we're going to talk about a movie that honestly we only discovered just a few days ago. I remember a friend of mine, Ryan, he actually pointed me to the Universal Ireland website, in which they were the first to go and reveal about this brand new animated feature that is coming out. And I decided to share it on social media, and a lot of people were very surprised as well. And I guess at that point, considering that the word officially came out, well, it looks like Universal was like, well, you know, it looks like people are starting to be aware of it. Might as well go and show them a true first taste of how it's going to be. How did you feel when you first saw, like, when you first reacted to, like, the image and the information about it?
It's weird. I like had no idea this movie was coming out, but I think it's very funny that like mind you, I hadn't even watched the trailer until today. So when everybody was talking about it, they're like, "Oh my god, there's an Ariel montage. They made Ariel the villain." And I'm like, "Oh my god." Like everyone's freaking out about her and it cracks me up a little bit. I'm just like, "Dude, guys, come on. I know she's pretty and all, but okay. I got it. We had an Ariel back in 1989. Now we have a montage for 2023. And now we're having this new Little Mermaid remake coming out. I mean, this is just the weirdest freaking coincidence. But
Oh, trust me, we'll get
come
a lot
on.
more into that later. But with that said, though, it is now time that we will go and look into this trailer, as we will go and look into DreamWorks Animation's new animated feature, which is Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken.
The ocean is a mysterious world.
And that is Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken, the brand new animated feature from DreamWorks Animation, to which is actually going to be released sooner than you think, in which they have announced a release date for June 30th. And also on a side note, it is worth mentioning that this will be directed by Kirk D'Amico, who previously directed the first Croods movie, and very recently he was the director of Sony Animation's Vivo. So, Devon, I would like to know your thoughts about what we have seen here.
Honestly, I, I really think it's very pretty. Like, it's very colorful. Like, you can tell the moment you watch it, it is colorful. The colors absolutely pop on screen. And I like this is an idea we have not really touched, in my opinion, as far as animated stuff. We don't go into a lot of movies about krakens, not animated. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, yeah, having the villain be a mermaid. I mean, okay. I like in technically in like in fairy tale lore, they a lot of people put mermaids as the villain because they're like the seducers. They're supposed to try to seduce these sailors into the
Yeah.
waters below, and that's why they put them in that way in mythology. It's very interesting. So I'm kind of intrigued as they're kind of going back to that in a weird way with this character, with this villain being an Ariel, like an Ariel montage, having her be the popular one, be the one that everybody wants to marry. She's the gorgeous one, and I think that's very interesting, at least in that perspective. And I'm curious to see how they're going to create this character. If she's going to be shallow, if she's going to be snobby, which I have a feeling she might be, but we don't know that based on the trailer. So that might be very interesting to dive into. What kind of character is this villain? Is she snobby? Is she smart but kind of sneaky? We don't know. They don't really specify that in the trailer, but I like that the Kraken is supposed to be the interesting protagonist, like this teenage girl, I think teenage girl.
Yeah,
That's
I believe
yeah, I
so.
think that's what it's yeah,
Wait,
so
actually, no. Yes, it's the title is literally Teenage
Ruby,
Kraken.
I'm sorry, but you know what? Just the design was throwing me off. Okay, I'm sorry. But as I was saying, I think it's very interesting where they're doing a teenage Kraken and kind of putting her almost like in a real world kind of scenario. So just to it sort of reminds me weirdly of oh god, Luca sort of.
Yeah, a lot of people have been comparing this to Luca.
Yeah, I've really been thinking of Luca, like just the idea of this like mythical creature coming up on land and having to hide their identity. That's what it's reminding me of.
Mhm.
Only it's not the friendship at all. It's like almost like a base straightforward story. But we'll see how much of the story is straightforward, what twists and turns are they going to do, because again, they don't specify that in the trailer. So we're
Yeah.
sort of just based on the colors and what the idea of these characters. We don't know yet, and I like that. I think what is the most interesting aspect is the how beautiful the animation is, all these new characters, and I think we're going to see something very interesting. To me it feels original, and I'm
Hmm.
excited about that. So I I'm honestly looking forward to it, and I think it'll be a fun summer movie to go see.
Yeah, honestly I do agree with you. I see a lot of potential in this feature. Like number one, you said it that this is a very colorful film, and it feels like they did take a lot of the aesthetics from their Trolls movies and putting it onto here and really putting that into good use. Like really taking advantage of the colorful, almost neon like colors that would be associated with underwater life. And it actually, and they use that to great effect. And there's also that element of world building where they're going to create their own lore about the Kraken and the mermaids and like this whole brawl between each other. And on top of that, learning about the new abilities that Krakens can have, and also at the same time of what mermaids can have, while you also have at the same time this little story going on, which kind of like is this little like well, not high school drama, but like, kind of like this little high school life that's going on with Ruby Gillman trying to fit in her new environment with all the different people. And then like there's this massive rivalry with Chelsea, who is like the popular mermaid that everyone loves, and ironically even the entire internet loves, because there have been some people who have been simping for her. So that has definitely been a thing. But at the same time, though, like I do see a lot of the potential that is going on with this, that I could definitely see how they could really turn this around and how it could actually work. Now, there is one criticism that I do have, and I am surprised about the third monster that they would have to go and face. Like, yes, we do know that they would have to go and face mermaids. We do know that there are krakens that are also highly prominent. But one I would say that I am shocked that they didn't mention is that also there's freaking sleep paralysis demons. Like, oh my god, why are the people so horrifically designed? Like, that's the one thing that's been turning me off so far from all this. I mean, it's a minor detail, but I get it. Like, the thing is, like, you know, it has an established art style, and that they want to make it consistent throughout, and they want to make like a more Trolls like abstract and cartoony look. But do you have to apply that to everyone? And when you look at the people, I'm sorry, they are scary looking. They are frightening. They like, funny enough, they all look like, the thing is, you look at all the people, with the exception of the mermaid, they all look like mutated they look like mutated Wallace and Gromit characters. Like, there's just something about the look of each people. It's just, it doesn't work. I'm sorry. Like, I know, like, it might seem like a minor detail, but I just look at these characters. It's like, no, this is like, oh God, like, they're more monsters than the actual monsters in the movie. I just need to go and point that out. It's like, probably Chelsea is the, like, of course, everyone looks like, you know, like, you see everybody falling in love with Chelsea. Yeah, because she's so far the only human-looking character that doesn't look like a disgusting creature.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say I'm sort of agree with you on that, but I'm also like, there's a huge difference between DreamWorks and Pixar. Unlike, you know, because I was thinking of Luca as I was watching this, and Pixar's always kind of had the people, oh, except in the early 90s. Let's not go talk about Toy Story. Good movie, but the people don't look good. But they've gotten better with creating
But
people.
are you criticizing the artistry that is Sid's dog?
That's not a dog. That's like, Toy Story is a great movie. Don't get me wrong, but some of the designs were just not very good at the time.
Oh,
And
of course.
I think with DreamWorks has been up and down. Like, they don't always create people very well either. It's really hard to sort of say. Like, Shrek probably is that rare movie where they did people pretty well, but again, it's a style. I think it's a style choice.
But still,
It's a
though,
style
like,
choice.
still though, trust me, over the years I've had people like using that damn excuse to get away to like to explain bad design. But still though, like yeah, a style's a style, but that does, you know, that doesn't mean there aren't good styles and bad styles as well. And it's just like, this one is just about, I'm sorry, like, at least on the people, like, it works great on the mermaids and the Krakens. Like, in order to develop unique creatures, yeah, they definitely do look awesome. And even like the design of Ruby Gillman, I have no complaints there. But when animating regular people or designing regular people, it's not a good style. They look bad. They look, you know, they enter into the realm of like awkward, uncanny valley, where they try to add in realistic detail, like, you know, like detailed realistic hair, or they try to add like detailed pupils onto the eyes. I'm sorry, it just doesn't look good. Like, it's a style is not a good excuse. Like, that's the equivalent of criticizing something of the fact that it has the Cal art style.
Yeah, I mean, I really had no issues to me, but maybe that's just because I was seeing it more. I'm not seeing it as like a Pixar movie where Pixar has always had some style that works for them very consistently. They've always be able to create people very well. So I wasn't thinking like that. DreamWorks has always been very different. They've always created different types of movies. They don't create the same style. And that, to me, I don't mind. It's just a stylistic choice that they made. Whether you like it or not is up to you. Who cares? In my opinion. But that's
Yeah,
just me.
yeah. Well,
I'm
I'm
not
not.
nearly as critiquing.
I'm not saying that like DreamWorks should be like Pixar or whatever. Like, I'm just, you know,
No.
it's like you said, you know, like, it's just you know, it's just expressing my opinion. Like, yeah, it's a style, but like, yeah, I don't like this style. I think this style is bad, or at least on the people. But again, like, I'm not, you know, this isn't slamming the movie hard on it. Like, that's just a minor factor compared to everything else. Like I said, I actually do like most of the things that they introduced, like the world building and the the world building, and also like the rest of the animation. It does look definitely good. But there is one thing that I do want to address, and this is a factor that I feel like is seriously concerning, and that is the release date. Like, keep in mind, it was only last week that this movie has been announced, that Universal decided to step in and say, here's the new DreamWorks movie. And yet they announced that the release date is going to be on June 30th. Like, we only got a month and we only got 3 months and a half so far. They only got three months and a half to go and promote this feature. And honestly, I feel like for a big budgeted mainstream movie like Ruby Gillman, that is really not a lot of time. Like, that feels like a limited amount to go and actually promote it. And not only that, but it's also going to be released on June 30th. June is going to be a stupidly packed time when it comes to big name movies coming out in theaters. Like even in animation, like earlier in the month, there's going to be Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and there's going to be Pixar's Elemental. And this is not to mention all the other big name movies that are going to be coming out, like DC's The Flash, or even Transformers Rise of the Beast, or especially Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which is going to be released on the day of Ruby Gillman. So like, I know now, so I know that there's a lot of people who are probably hypothesizing that the release date is more on trying to cash in on the potential hate that the Little Mermaid remake is going to make, trying to say like, oh, well, if you're tired of Disney's The Little Mermaid, then look into the antithesis of it, which is Ruby Gillman. Look, we even got an evil Ariel with us. They got that happening. Like they're doing that. But still, though, if it is true that they are doing it for that, then honestly, it feels like it's way too big of a gamble just based on a novelty concept for the marketing. So honestly, I feel like with the limited time that they have to go and market the feature in the first place, and also the release date itself, in which it's going to be heavily crowded with much bigger movies, it makes me concerned that I feel like that Universal does not have much faith on Ruby Gillman itself. That maybe they're specifically putting it there because they rather want to go and hide it. They don't want people to actually go and see it because they know that this is probably an inferior product compared to what we got last year with The Bad Guys and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Now, I could totally be wrong, and this movie could turn out to be like really awesome and maybe like one of the best movies of the summer. That is a possibility, but it's just that release date, releasing it so soon, just when it got announced like a few days ago, like that just feels like a red flag right there. That feels like an aspect where something is not right. And DreamWorks is obviously not giving it the proper treatment like they have done so with their previous films, like with Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, or with The Bad Guys, or even with Trolls 3, which is coming out at the end of the year. Like, we're already aware of it, and they've already released like a little bit of promotional material at a few conventions. So honestly, that's my only question and my real concern of all this. Like, yeah, you can take my criticism with the designs of the humans. Like, yeah, that's like a minor nitpick. Like, sure, I could take that, but you cannot deny that it is a concern with how they are planning on the marketing and the release date, where you just have to wonder, why is it that they're not handling this as well as the previous DreamWorks films?
Here's an argument. I'm going to play devil's advocate on that because, one, Ruby Gillman is very original. Think about it. Some of the other movies you just said are based on like previous products that they did. Trolls 3,
Okay.
Puss in Boots. I mean, Bad Guys is the only exception, but that's based off of a book.
Okay.
What is Ruby Gillman based off of? Think about that.
Nothing. I don't
Nobody
think so.
knows that. I don't think so either. That's where I'm playing devil's advocate. At the very least, Trolls and Puss in Boots and Bad Guys all have something that's been previously done. Like, Bad Guys is based off of a book, a very successful children's series, by the way. So they have that background knowledge already of that. So that's why they're promoting it, because they know people are going to go watch it. But for this Ruby Gillman movie, where it has no background, they don't know, like, there's nothing like that. There's no similar story. It's not based off of a book. It's not even based off of a series. It's so original. How many times do like movie studios like want to gamble on something that may not work? Especially
Mm-hmm.
with the Little Mermaid remake coming out this summer as well. Little Mermaid again, based off of a Disney movie, based off of a book. There people are going to go see the Little Mermaid remake because they know it's based on nostalgia. Ruby Gillman has nothing going for it other than the fact that people like DreamWorks or animation fans or even people who are interested in mermaids, krakens, and sea monsters, that kind of thing. What else is it going for it?
So are you saying that because it's an original movie that Universal is kind of like sweeping it under the rug and they don't have as much faith on this as they would like with their other features?
That's what I'm saying. Because I know a lot of people complain that there's not enough original material out there. Well, part of that is the movie studio's fault. They don't have faith in what's original because they want to go to what's nostalgic. What is going to make them money? Nostalgia, previous knowledge. They're going to go after something that people already know. And that's what's making money. That's why there's sequels to movies. That's why like Puss in Boots Last Wish, even though the Shrek series ended a while back, people will still go see the Puss in Boots movies because they know that character from the Shrek movies. Think about that. That's why I'm playing devil's advocate. If you want to go, like, if Ruby Gillman is very successful, maybe they'll create a sequel and people will go see it after that movie's been released. But we don't know that. Ruby Gillman's a gamble, so that's why they're not as promoting of it because they don't know if it's going to be good.
You know, honestly, no, like, honestly, what you said, you're absolutely right. You do bring up a very good point, but I will say that doesn't sound much like devil's advocate. You're making Universal look so much worse that they are fully
That's true.
against originality.
I mean, most movie studios are. I'm sorry, but it's true.
No, you do bring up a
Well,
good point. That is true. That is true. But yeah, but with that said, though, I would like to go into the chat wall because we don't really have a lot of time left. And I want to ask you all, how do you feel about this trailer of Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken? Are you excited to go and check out this movie? Do you have any doubts or questions? Let me know what you think. Well, let's see now. So it's female Luca in a totally not at all symbolic rivalry with a redhead mermaid. Yeah, sorry, this looks lame and I'm not impressed. Not with the story, not with the animation, and especially not with the character designs. This trailer shows me that DreamWorks is reverting back to the petty and bitter Disney and Pixar imitators that I thought they moved past being after they made How to Train Your Dragon. Also, Ember Lumen is best waifu, while Ruby Gillman is waifu trash. And underage trash at that. Oh boy, like, I know there's a lot of arguments about like the underage aspect, like of like simping for these characters or whatever, but oh boy, like that's just too toxic of an argument. Like I've already seen like how things went with Twitter. Yeah.
yeah, not worth talking about it.
Let's see. With the big role DreamWorks has been on, this does like it will continue that. Yes, most of the characters look more monstrous than an actual monster, but beyond that, the visuals are pretty amazing. The characters do seem enjoyable, and I do like that they are making the mermaids more like their Greek selves. What I don't like, however, is that they seem to have already revealed how it's going to end. Come on, DreamWorks, at least Illumination takes 2 trailers to spoil the ending. Yeah, that is true. We kind of just saw the whole movie right there.
Actually, you do have a point. I'm not even arguing that. That's pretty accurate.
Yeah, but then again, I mean, like, the movie could still turn out to be good. I could say the exact, like, if you watch the Mitchells vs. the Machines trailer, they spoiled the whole movie right there, and that still turned out to be awesome. Who knows?
Sure.
Let's see. The Ruby Gillman trailer is very weird to me. On one hand, the animation looks very nice, and the idea sounds like a children's book, but the trailer shows too much of the story while feeling nothing special, and besides Ruby and Chelsea, the extras in the background look like Grubhub characters with their eyes from Smallfoot. The film looks alright, but with how Universal announced the film 3 months and releasing during the stacked June and July film month, I think this film is dead on arrival. Ooh, probably true. And, Yeah, I think I only have time for one more comment. Sorry about that, folks, but I just don't have a lot of time left. Ruby Gillman looks pretty unique, I must say. The character designs look really nice. The animation looks amazing as always, coming from DreamWorks, and the colors are really eye-catching. I think the only issue I have is nothing to do with the movie, but it's just the marketing. I normally would know all these things since I have friends that work in the industry, but this just came out of nowhere, and I'm worried that it might do poorly at the box office since we have a very, very busy summer due to Spider-Verse and more. Yeah, that's definitely true. And with that said, that should do it for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. Devon, thank you so much for joining on this. You really did spice things up. You really did make this an awesome episode.
Well, thanks for having me. I had a lot of fun. And I'm hoping the chat will had a blast either counting how many fingers I gave to you or how many times I was ready to kill you.
Oh, yeah.
Either one.
There is certainly a number for that. Hey, if we're going into the Sesame Street theme, well, that's something you could definitely go and count on this episode. And also, I just want to go and quickly mention, thank you all so much for watching this. And don't forget to go and subscribe to me on the AniMat's Live Twitch channel or the AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast YouTube channel, as well as following me on whatever podcast service you would go and listen to me to, whether it be on Spotify, Amazon, Google Play, iTunes, and more. And also, do not forget on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, that I will be doing the charity event where Animat Plays will be coming back, and I will be playing Cuphead. So with all that said and done, I would like to say thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, see you later, dudes.
Bye, guys.